Hey everybody, welcome back to Sean's Gadget Kitchen. I got a fun one for you today. It is the Dash Peeps branded rapid egg cooker. This one comes with a poaching tray, a Peeps shaped omelet maker. Tell me that's not kind of cool. Comes with the cooking device itself, an egg tray, and this little measuring cup. Now how this works is it can make some omelets, it can make poached eggs. It also comes with this quick start guide and this recipe book, and it lays out some pretty cool stuff. There's a bagel egg sandwich in there, and you can also steam some other things that it discusses, such as salmon, asparagus, things like that. So it's got some versatility involved. So how this steamer works is it's got a measuring cup here, and that corresponds to time. Say, for example, you fill the water up to here. This would correspond to hard-boiled eggs, and that's going to steam for about 16 minutes. You rip the bottom off, poke some holes in your eggs, throw them in the cooker, press start, you're off to go. All right, let's check this thing out with some hard-boiled eggs. So we filled our water up to the line that corresponds with that. We're going to put it on this hot plate. Now, supposedly this will evaporate and set off a chime, and we'll know that they are done. Almost forgot. You have to poke a hole in the egg with this little pin on the bottom. And hopefully I don't explode the egg. I think we got a hole in there. Now I'm guessing the purpose of the hole is to prevent the eggs from blowing up. But maybe if I blew up the eggs, I'd get some views, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so we got a hole. So now we're ready to cook. We'll put the egg tray on the unit. We will hit the power button. Put the lid on. Let's get the Peeps logo in the front. And we will be back in 16 minutes. So the unit itself has been on for less than a minute. You could already start to see some steam forming. So that's pretty cool. At least you know that it's working. So we're being summoned that our egg process is completed. Now it did say in the guide about 16 minutes, and it's been about 7 minutes. So nevertheless, we're going to turn this off. We're going to trust it. Now we will carefully remove our eggs, make sure we don't burn ourselves. As you know, I'm famous for that. Let's see if anything leaks out the hole. Nope. We're going to let these cool off rather, and then we'll crack them open and see what we got. Now supposedly all the water should be evaporated off that tray, and it looks like it has, so we're good. Next up, some poached eggs. We've got some poached eggs ready. We've got a couple eggs in this tray that's been greased. You always want to pre-lubricate your cooking device to make sure it doesn't stick. We've got our water level filled up to the poached egg marker. We're going to put this on a stopwatch to see how long it takes, just for fun. Why not, right? What else are we going to do? All right, so let's pour the water in here. We're going to put our lid on, press start, and start the stopwatch. Don't you just love that chime? That's pretty cool. Okay, so poached eggs, we were in there for about 6 minutes and 10 seconds, probably 11 seconds. So that's pretty close to this when it was full for the hard-boiled eggs, but nevertheless, let's see what happened. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm wearing this glove, and no, I'm not trying to impersonate Michael Jackson, but what happened was, as our handy instruction manual pointed out, that those hard-boiled eggs will be hot when they come out of the steamer. I did place them in some cold water, and I found out how hot they actually were. So let's get this off here. All right, so I've got these poached eggs. I think they're a little bit overdone. And that's one of the things that we all know with these gadgets is that it takes a little time to figure it out. So I had filled it up to about here where it says poached. So the next time I'd probably go a little bit less. And of course, if you wanted it cooked more, you just put a little bit more. So with a little trial and error, you can probably nail it exactly how you like it. But let's see. Yeah, see, that's pretty hard. I wouldn't call this a poached egg per se. It's a little more poached than I would like it. I mean, if I ate poached eggs, and I don't, but it doesn't look too bad though. It's maybe soft cooked. It's still pretty runny. I think the white maybe is just a little bit too cooked. But hey, let's check it out and see. Could be good. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Not too bad. All right, let's get a close-up look of our ham and cheese omelet. And yes, you're probably thinking I'm a psychopath. That is mozzarella. I know typically you'd go with a yellow cheese, but just happened to have some mozzarella and thought that'd be cool. As I mentioned, it's omelet time. We've got some ham and cheese in there. We put ham into a chick-shaped mold, a chick-shaped mold. I wonder if that's cross-contamination. We'll keep it between us. We'll be good. Okay. In with the water, on with the lid. This time, put the Peeps logo in the front. Forgot last time. All right, we will hit the ON button and start our timer. All right, so there's another shot of it cooking. Can't really see because it's covered in steam. Not sure why I'm so fascinated by that. I mean, I also stare at the washing machine while it's working, so that's that. Okay, so that was about, I never get sick of this. That was about 7 minutes roughly, so it seems like no matter how much water you put in there, it's gonna cook for around 6-7 minutes. Ready for the grand reveal? Got this set up for a close-up shot. And there we go. Okay, it looks a little bit different than I thought. And I'm gonna flip this over because I think we're gonna flip it over and see if we can get like that classic peep shape. So bear with me for 1 second while I don some gloves. All right, I'm back. Let's flip this over and see. Of course, you gotta pre-lube that tray just to make sure. And that looks pretty watery, although it does have a really, let me see if I can get this in the screen. That's a terrible shot. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? There we go. It does look like that peep shape. It's pretty liquidy. I'm not gonna eat that. I wonder if I can get it back in the mold and give it a couple more minutes. Let's see. That's probably gonna be a challenge and it's not gonna fit in there perfect, but does perfection matter that much? Oh, you definitely want to see this, so I'm just going to turn the camera off so as not to embarrass myself, but, you know, at this stage, I think I'm over that. Oh, and it ran all over the plate. Okay, we got it back in there. All right, thanks for hanging with me through all that drama. A little more water. The lid. Got the Peeps logo in the front. Press the ON button. Cool. Let's check back in a couple minutes. All right, here we go again. That was about 2 more minutes, maybe 3. Okay, we got some type of an omelet here. It doesn't really resemble anything that I'm familiar with, but let's flip that over. I guess it looks okay. I'm gonna have to give this a taste, but of course, I threw my fork away. Not in the garbage, but just put it in a different room. So let me grab that fork, hang on. Let's get a close-up look. Looks a little strange, right? It did come in and out of the mold, so. All right, let's go back in position. Okay, I did it. This is my monitor, so sorry, I gotta monitor this. All right. Let's give this a taste. Oh, look, a tiny little cheese pull. That's okay, right? I get some points for that. Can see some ham hanging out of there. All right, this might not be the disaster I thought it was, if I can get it in my mouth. Actually, that's pretty tasty. Of course, it'd be, a lot better if it had some salt in it. A little bland, but that's not a problem. Let's go take a look at this hard-boiled egg now. Hang on, one more bite. We're going to reposition the camera here. We will do a close-up of this. I did want to revisit this hard-boiled egg, see how it cooked up. Is there going to be yolk running out of here? It's been taking a little nap. It's rested in some cool water. And look at that. I think that looks really good. I mean, for a hard-boiled egg, that's definitely what I'm going for. The omelet, I had it in there for about 6 minutes. It took about 8-9 minutes, and I think you get a pretty good result. So those are both a solid win, although that didn't have the classic Peeps shape that I hoped for. But I think if it was just in there for one time period without being in and out of the mold, it'd probably be good. So we'll come back with some final thoughts, so stick around. So let me give you my final thoughts on this unit. I really liked it. It can cook about 7 eggs. It did a great job on the hard-boiled egg. They were really easy to peel, which is always great. The omelet was a little bit funky at first, but once I figured out the length of time to cook it, it was soft and fluffy and really tasty. So I think that's cool. The other thing we did was poached eggs. I think it would do a good job at that as well. It can cook about 7 eggs. So if you cook a lot of eggs, I think it's a good deal. At $25, it's hard to go wrong. It could also steam salmon, other vegetables. There's some other recipe ideas. So all in all, I think this one's really cool. Thanks for watching.